Welcome everyone to the female bodybuilding channel.
Hey.
And we saw an NPC national show, and it was the most dominating win we can remember in the last couple of years in amateur shows. How does that feel, Anastasia, to dominate a pro qualifier like this?
Well, you know, it's pretty cool, but I never went into this prep with the goal really of winning a show. Like, obviously that's always in the front of my mind, but that wasn't my goal for this prep. I didn't know how many people were going to be in the show. I didn't know who was going to show up. I didn't know anything. I was focused on bringing my best physique for me that I ever could. I just wanted to see what I could look like if I gave everything I had to it and see what my most potential could create. And that's really was my goal the whole prep. I mean, to go on stage and have it reap the rewards it did was badass, of course, but like I never really thought about it going into it, you know?
We've seen you over the years, and just to go back, how many years have you, when did you start to compete? Like, when was it?
I moved to Florida 7 years ago, and I think I started competing 6 years ago in figure.
6 years ago in figure. Was your goal figure pro, just to compete, to be women's bodybuilding? What was your goal when you started 6 years ago?
When I started, I wanted to be a figure pro, but that division, I quickly just kind of outsized it. Same with women's physique, so then bodybuilding just became the only division I couldn't be too big for. So, you know.
This show, you said your mindset would just be your best ever. Do you feel you brought your best ever?
I do. I'm finally happy with, because that was my thing. I would get all these stage shots, and there were shows I did well, shows I didn't do well, but I was never 100% happy with how I looked, and I wanted to do that for me. So that's really just what I focused on this prep, and I couldn't be happier with how I looked. Like, it was exactly what I wanted.
How did you manage it though? What was different for this prep? What was different for this prep than before?
There was a couple of things that were different. One of the big ones was I started training with more powerlifters and strength competitors and strongmen. I actually competed in strongman and won a competition, but I learned more so how to do the basic movements really, really well. And I just really focused on them as far as training. Like, I tried to do more of like what Dorian Yates does and just do short sessions that were extremely intense, extremely focused, extremely meaningful, and then get out of the gym. So my training state changed significantly. Because of that, it was a lot more like squats, deadlifts, barbell rows, just the heavy compound movements, but execution was where I really focused. So like I was deadlifting 405 for reps 3 weeks out. But like I was doing it with the intent of bodybuilding, not just to move the weight. So it definitely made a big difference incorporating those compound movements. And then the other biggest thing was my support system changed completely this year. And it was probably one of the best things for me as far as prep, because I was able to really focus on what I was doing and focus on me and not feel guilty and not feel bad about what I was doing and not feel like I was inconveniencing somebody else. I was just able to really go all in. Those are the two biggest things.
Two different things. So you were training, was it shorter but more intense, or?
What is it?
Was your training shorter but more intense? This new type of stuff?
Yeah, more intense. Probably like 45-minute to an hour-long sessions, but the intensity was really, really high during them. I might do like 4 or 5 movements, and that was it.
No, JB and myself, we were very, it was fantastic, and this the side triceps, Anastasia, huh? It's a good one, huh?
That's my good one, yeah.
Great.
That's a good one. So what's going on now? You turn pro. What's the plan?
I mean, right now I'm just being happy in the moment, enjoying what I did. Obviously, to be competitive as a pro, I need a lot more size, so that's going to be the focus, but I know how to do that now, so it's not really, I know what it takes, I know what to do, so that's going to be the focus, just getting more size, because I don't want to ever compete again and go in unsure. So like going into this show, I was very calm, I was very sure, I knew I did everything I had to do. I knew that no stone had been unturned. I don't ever want to go into a show without that feeling, so I'm not going to compete again until I feel that again.
And it's not so much more size. It's more like some things needs to be. It's not massively sized everywhere. It's just like special different body parts maybe and things like this, correct?
Yeah, I definitely need to bring up my back a lot. That was a lagging body part that I brought up a lot this year, but it still obviously needs to be brought up more. But again, I know how to do that now. So
how much we gotta ask, because everyone in women's female bodybuilding channel, we like size. How much did you weigh?
So before we dropped water, I was at 181, and then by the time I got on stage, 175.
Okay. And how tall are you?
5'10".
Okay. So you're tall, so we can put on much more size also then.
Yeah.
That's
That's always been my issue is my height. I don't look as big as I am because I'm so tall. So I have to really like focus on filling out the frame and like getting bigger legs, getting bigger arms, so it looks like I'm complete.
Are we thinking late 2024 or are we thinking 2025?
I'm thinking late 2024.
Yeah. Good.
We're waiting.
Later then. Is it going to be later, like in summer, maybe, or like
summer, fall, somewhere around there? I want to give myself time to like do what I have to do and grow, and then I have a couple of strongman competitions coming up. I'm going to focus on. So,
are you gonna do the strongman competitions while you're a professional athlete? Are you gonna do it?
Yeah, I have a state level or a national level strongman competition in February that I got signed up for. So.
I don't want to jinx it, but aren't we worried about injuries? We're not.
Well, I don't. So the way strongman works is there are different events in every single competition, and I only pick ones that I know won't hurt me.
Okay. Well, that's good. Is it your boyfriend on the right?
Yeah.
Hi.
He doesn't speak English, but
what does he doesn't speak English?
No,
I'm Russo.
Russian.
Ask him if you can translate for him. Ask him, how did it feel to see your girlfriend bring her best ever and turn pro?
Oh, I don't need to translate. I know what he was. He was crying the whole time.
He was crying.
Yeah. He knows how much it meant to me. He was there for all of it, so.
Good. So you speak Russian with him, or?
No, we know he knows a little bit of English and I know a little bit of Russian, but we mostly just translate back and forth. We've been together for about 10 months now.
Oh.
Yeah, about 10 months.
So you use your phone like this translator?
Yeah.
Isn't that hard?
Crazy.
No, I mean there's applications where you can just talk into it and it'll just translate it automatically. So we do that.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Spasiba,
say something, JB. One question before I end it. JB, ask her something you want to know.
Okay, really want to know what impact has Nasir to your win? What do you think?
What is it?
What impact has Nasir to your win? Yasin,
my coach.
Yeah. What does it mean to have him as a coach?
Yeah.
I could not be happier with him as a coach because I don't respond well to hand holding and hugging and you're great, you're wonderful. I need someone that's going to be direct with me and give me clear guidelines and expectations, and that's what he does. He keeps me really healthy. Our gear, we only ran primo and growth the whole prep.
Wait. You only ran primo. Can we ask, or maybe that's personal. Can you say how much, or is that like you don't want to say?
It's a small amount, very small, less than I've done in the past.
Nothing else?
Yeah, nothing else. I trained really hard and ate, followed my diet, did my training, did everything I was supposed to do.
So that shows you, for the people out there, just so people know, that's the same as wellness girls, meaning that you can reach, obviously you need more to be a threat in open, but you can reach women's bodybuilding size without abusing the other.
Correct. Yeah. But your training has to be on point. You can't play around. Like this off season, I was up to 7 meals a day, probably around 6,000 calories, but my training was the same every single time I trained. I was in it. I was on it.
6,000 calories? Do you get fat on 6,000 calories? You get a little bit chubby, correct?
I couldn't gain weight.
What?
I couldn't gain weight.
Wow.
6,000 calories and you're not even getting any chubbier or nothing?
No, because the way I was training, I was doing the bodybuilding stuff and then I was doing the strongman stuff too. I was running around holding weights and doing farmer's carries and log presses and deadlifts. And, it's just when you train like that, if your output is that high,
Oh,
That
great.
means we are expecting to see tons of photo shoots of you year round because you're always in shape.
We'll see about that.
Great.
Okay, so last question before you go. Now, as a pro, women's bodybuilding is not so often promoted by the girls themselves that much in women's bodybuilding for whatever reason. What's your approach now as a professional? Will you start? Do you have any like, I want to promote women's bodybuilding to the masses, or do you want people like to promote you? What's your, because it's, we need some extra, like, we need everyone to chip in, you know?
I don't think that bodybuilding is for everybody, especially not women's bodybuilding, because it is a very hard division. But I do think that if more women saw it as attainable, which is why I'm open about my drug use, because I know that for me, that was why I didn't want to do women's bodybuilding from the start, because I didn't want to take tests. I didn't want to take tren. I didn't want to do all that stuff. But now that I've done it without that, I can show other people like, hey, you can do it too. So hopefully we get more and more people doing it, because it is a beautiful sport. And I think it's awesome. The women's bodybuilding division honors women that train the way they do and get as big as they do. And I want to see it keep growing.
So you are willing to start doing, do you have a YouTube channel?
No.
Because I'm just like a lot of women, more than men, they're, for some weird reason, they don't talk about, or they lie a lot about what they're using or not using, or don't want to talk about it or whatever, women especially. So if you can get out what's really what you're doing and openly, since you're so open about it, it will be a great thing.
Yeah, that's what I want to do, because again, that was what held me back. I always loved women's bodybuilding, but I didn't want to take all that stuff. You know, it just wasn't interesting to me. But now that I know you can do it without it.
So you're a tall girl. Are you gonna tall girl next year, JB? We're gonna see Anastasia versus Julia Fury, correct? And versus Witzel, correct?
I love Julia Flory. She's so cool.
Yeah.
We want to see some big girls, JB. We want to see some big girl action, correct?
Yes, definitely. From my opinion, yes.
Okay, Anastasia, thank you. And your name is Anastasia because they pronounce something else on the stream. Your name is.
No, they didn't. They forgot how to say Anastasia. They made up a new name, but it's Anastasia.
Yeah. Okay.
Like always.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time, and
Congratulations.
congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.